So before we start playing our recorders here in just a few minutes, we are going to go over and review a little bit more about how to read music. So, if you'd like to take notes, you may. If you don't need to take notes, that's fine. Either one. So remember that story that I told you on Wednesday, right? How Guido d'Arezzo came and decided he was going to make a systematic way to remember different songs. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
Are you going to test over like those names and stuff?
No.
Okay.
But it's legitimately that's who did it.
Okay.
So there's a whole story called Guido d'Arezzo. It's like a children's book that I use in my music classroom. He also came up with, anybody in here in choir or have been in choirs in the past, were like, you know, me so, me so, me so. He came up with, he was like the precursor to those hand signs. So. Anyways, so remember that he just decided to draw more lines if he wanted to go higher and draw more lines if he wanted to go lower, right? So this is the treble clef, this is the bass clef. And remember that there is an invisible line that runs in between these two. Okay? Thumbs up if you understand that. There's an invisible line that will appear at some points in time. Okay. And remember, how many letters are in our musical alphabet? Let's sing our musical alphabet, please. Here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 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 backwards. G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. If I want to go higher, what needs to happen? I go forward in my alphabet. So if I know that this line right here, the second line up from the bottom, is the G line because that curly cue's wrapped around it. Can you see that? I know this is G. One note below G, one note lower in the space in between, right below G, is F. Because G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, I'm going down, I'm going lower, I'm getting lower. One note above G is what? A, good. And here's a different way to remember that. If that doesn't work for you, please put your stuff down and hold up your hand like this. Good. How many fingers do you have? 5. Good. How many spaces do you see? 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do that with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. This is now our treble clef. Okay? And remember the second line up from the bottom, or your ring finger, is what note? G. G. You're so good already. G. So here comes the note muncher, all right? Boom, 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 boom. And to play G, he's going to have to grab a hold of that finger. All right? Where's the line? In the middle of your hand, right? In the middle, in the note muncher's mouth. Okay? I'm sorry if this is really elementary. This is the way I teach my third graders, and it works. So the line goes through the middle of the note. Yeah? If I go up one step, where is the line? It's not there. So the note muncher is in between two lines, so it is in a space. So what is one note above G? A. One note above A is, which happens to be what line? The third line up from the bottom, right? So what note is G? The second line up from the bottom. What is this note right here? It is E, because this is G. What's one note below G? F, which is right here in the space. And then one note below F is what?
E.
E. What is in this space right here? D, because it's one note below E. Okay? Now here's the deal. Here comes the invisible line. C is on the next note down. All right? Because I need to draw a line. And then this space is what? B. Okay? So, let's do this. So say G. You don't have to be a note muncher anymore, but you can point, you can grab, that's fine. So G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G is on the top space. Let's try that together. G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G is on the top. Let's go backwards. We're going down, we're getting lower, the pitch is going lower, right? So this is what? G, F, E, D, C, B, B is the middle, yeah. B, A, G, F, E, D, C. And that's that middle line, that's that invisible line. Okay? So how many people learned E, G, B, D, F and FACE? Right. And I think that that is a good way to remember it. It's not the best way to learn it though, because what happens? You don't understand that those things connect. It's disjointed. Okay? It's not lines and spaces, it's the whole thing. So the easiest way for me to teach beginners is to, this is G, that's your point of reference, and you're just going to go forwards or backwards in your alphabet depending on which direction the melody is going. So if it's going up, you're going to count up. All right. So here's where the, remember how we talked about feet and how like I don't need them when I do rhythm? I need them now because remember the note, the line has to be in the middle of the note. Remember that's called a what? A bar line. And it separates what from what? Measure from measure. Okay? So if this note is G, how many G's do I have in a row? 2. What's the next note that I have? An A, because it's right above that G. Yes? Okay. And how many A's do I have in a row?
2.
Good. What note value is this, ta or T? Ta. And you know that because what? It doesn't have a beam on it, okay? So can we please say the rhythm? 1, 2, and say it, go. The next thing we're going to do is say the note name in that rhythm. Here's an example. Elizabeth, you want to give them an example? 2, and ready, go.
G, G, A.
So she's saying the note name in the rhythm, okay? 1, 2, and say it, go.
G, G, A.
Good. I'm going to change one thing here. Read it now and ready, go. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Do that again and ready, go.
Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta.
Say the note names, ready, go.
G, G, A, G.
Good. And what? Really stupid. I tried to snap my fingers and it was just like my brain went blank and I just became the biggest idiot on the planet. Like, so good. I'm glad everybody just caught on. Good. Here we go. Try it one more time. 1, 2, and ready, go.
G, G, A, G.
Okay. Here's a new note value. So if you need to write this down, you can. I'm going to put this right here at the beginning. What does this top number tell us?
How many beats are in the measure?
How many beats are in each measure? How many beats can I have in each measure? 4. How many notes can I have in that measure? As many as I want. As long as they add up to 4 beats, right? Can I have any less than 4 beats? No, listen to me right now. This is like the dictator, okay? He says what to do, or she says really, let's just be honest. She says what to do all the time, okay? At all points in time. You can have no less than 4 beats and no more than 4 beats in each measure. Unless she decides to change her outfit. And she can do that. So now how many beats are in the measure? 3. And you can have no more or no less than 3 beats in the measure. Okay. So if I know this note is a ta, and that gets how many beats? 1. So if I put 2 tas together, how many beats would it get? 2. And this is a ta-ah. And I say ta-ah because I sound that note for 2 beats instead of just 1. For example, G, G, A, A, G, B, B, A. Like it's 2 beats.
The one open is
The one open. It's called a half note. Let's talk a little bit about that right now because a lot of you were like, T's and T's, what are you talking about? I'm an adult. Okay. So this is called a quarter note. This is called an eighth note. There are 2 eighth notes in a row. This is called a half note. And they are so named not for how many beats they get, but how much of a measure in 4/4 time, which is the most common time signature, how much of the measure it takes up. Let me say that again. Notes are named by how much of a measure they take up in 4/4 time only. So if this time signature changes and this note value becomes a half a beat instead of 1 beat, which is possible, it's still a quarter note. You still call it a quarter note, okay? So, but since this is the most common time, these are named by how much of the measure they take up. So how many beats, how many quarter notes can I have in one measure? 4. They take up a quarter of the measure, or 1/4. How many half notes can I have in one measure? 2. How many eighth notes can I have in one measure? 8, because 8, 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus 1/8 plus, you see what I'm saying? Equals 1 or equals 4 beats. This is called a whole note. And it's an open circle without a stem. By the way, these are called stems. And it doesn't matter which way they go, up or down, doesn't matter. All right?
So
Does
that
it-
one's still tall, the one going down.
Yeah,
It doesn't flip at a certain line.
it does flip at a certain line. It flips at A.
Okay.
So anything from A or above is up, typically, unless it's, well, actually, A or below is up,
Yeah.
and B and above is down. And that you don't have, unless you're just like, you know, that's not something you're going to be tested on, okay? I just want you to know that if you're looking at something like this and you see a stem, doesn't matter which way it's going, okay? Don't care. You shouldn't either. Okay. So how many whole notes can I fit in one measure of 4/4? Only 1, because it takes up the whole measure. Oh man, these people were geniuses, right? So we also have other note values called 16ths, 32nds, 64ths, 128ths, 256, 512ths. See what I'm saying? So it's divisible by that. You keep on dividing it how? In half as you go down. Okay? I'm only going to maybe test you on quarter notes, half notes, whole notes, eighth notes, and 16th notes, which are the most common note values that you will see. Okay. Can we please say this with note names now? Also, watch this. Are you ready for this? This is crazy. This is an A right here, right? This is also an A right here. Okay? A's will always be in between the B and the G. Always and forevermore. If that treble clef's at the beginning of the line. Okay? Always and forevermore. Any note that's on that, regardless of the rhythm of it, will be an A. The same goes for any other note that's on here. It will always be that note name. The rhythm will change. That's how we get music. We have pitch and we have rhythm, and they work together to create music. Okay? So please read this in note names with me. 1, 2, in time, and go. G, A, A, G, B, B, A, off. How long did we hold this A for? 4 beats, yeah, because it's a whole note. Cool. All right, so we're good. So let's do some other things right now. I'm going to erase this. You're not going to be tested on bass clef. I just want you to understand that if I have a note like that's here, that's middle C. Remember that invisible line? See how I drew it short, invisible line right there? That's low C. But I can also do this. And that's what note?
B.
B. And see how much space is in between this B and this top line? This whole space right here is B. So I can have B right here too. behind what's going along. This is also a B.
We're never going to learn bass
You're not going to learn bass clef, but for those of you that like to know that sort of thing. So I would just work my way down. B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F. It's the last space. You're not going to be tested on it though, just for inquiring minds like to know. Okay. Somebody give me a time signature, please.
3/4.
What?
3/4.
3/4. 3/4. Yes? How many beats can be in the measure, Reveal?
3.
How many beats can be in this in our measures now? Not 4. Remember, the top number is the one that says how many beats. Three. It's 3 beats in a measure. Okay? So I can have 3 beats. Okay. To be able to do measures of 3/4, we have to talk about one other thing. That's what? A half note. How many beats does that half note get? 2. I'm going to change it really quick. I'm going to put a little dot right after that note. Okay? That makes it get 3 beats. All right? This is not a singular function. This dot does the same thing to any other note. What is half of 2? What is 1 plus 2? 3. Good. What note value is this? A quarter note. Okay? So if I put a dot here, how many beats does that get? 1.5. Right? Because a half of 1 is what? A half. 1 plus 1/2 is 1.5. Okay? If I do this, how many beats does a whole note get?
4.
4. If I put a dot there, how many beats does it get now? 6, because half of 4 is what? 2, and 2 plus 4 is 6. Do you see how that dot works? So if I'm in a measure of 3/4 and I do this, I should just use an eraser, that would make sense, right? And remember, 1T by itself has a flag on it. Okay. This is a ta, right? Because it gets how many beats? 3. This is a ta, ti, ta. Okay? That's all it is. We're just going to use the same exact way that we've been counting. So it's ta, ti, ta. And watch, if I count that out, here's my beat. So if I have 3 beats per measure, right? 3 beats per measure because the 3's on top. This note gets 3 beats, yes? So 1, 2, 3. And then I go on to the next note, and the next note sounds whenever I put my hands together the next time. So it's ta, ta, ti, ta. And notice where this T comes in. Look right now. This gets how many claps? 2. This gets how many claps? None. That sounds when my hands are apart. So that's ta, ti, because that's halfway in between beats 2 and 3. Because beat 3 happens when my hands go back together. Ta, ti, ta. We'll go over this again and again. Don't worry about it, okay? We will make sure that you know what we're talking about. So let's read this in note names. 1, 2, or actually tas and ts. Let's keep that beat with me, just lightly. 1, 2, and ready, read. Ta, ta, ti, ta. Let's do that again. 1, 2, and ready, go. Ta, ta, ti, ta. When we say T, between beats 2 and 3. Yeah? And we'll do this. And I have a whole poem about this that we'll do later. So let's read the note names, please. 1, 2, and ready, go. G, A, B, B. 2, again, and go. G, A, B, B. Yeah. So this right here, we'll work on that. Just as long as you know the note names. Here's the other thing that I do not want you to do. You may not write in note names underneath the note or above the note. Okay? Your recorder book has them inside the note, which I absolutely hate. Because what happens then? You're not really reading music, you're reading note names, which we all can do in here. everyone knows what a B and a C looks like, okay? So, okay. Should have realized that. Give me another time signature, please. 6-4. That sounds great. Okay.
Is 4 always on the bottom?
What?
Is 4 always on the bottom?
4 will always be on the bottom for a while. The 4 on the bottom number controls what note value gets the beat. So if it's a 4, that means that the quarter note gets the beat. So the quarter note becomes the ta. So the bottom number tells you what gets the ta. If it's an 8, what note value do you think would get the ta? An 8th note. Okay? So then if it was, and let's just do it right now. There's 6, 8. So I would have three T's in a row. 3 T's in a row equals 6. So 6 8th notes. And it goes T T T T T T T T T T T T. You hear this all the time. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Like a lot of the things that we do as people from this region is called compound meter, where you can divide the groups into 3 or 2, and we'll talk about that later. Okay. For right now, we're just going to stay in the land of 4. Okay. Alyssa, did you have a question?
Yeah, can you explain the note with the little dot after it just one more time?
Sure. So then any note with a dot directly after it is different than what you're used to. Okay? That's a half note right now. Yes? Okay. If I put a dot to it, this dot makes me as the musician have to do some math. Okay? And I have to say 2 beats plus half of that note value is what? Half of this note value is what? If I divide 2 into half, what do I get? 1. So 2, so this makes me, this dot is now worth 1, equals 3.
Where did the 2 come from?
This gets 2 beats. Without the dot, it gets 2 beats. Okay, now look over here, Alyssa. You know that that gets how many beats? That's a ta. It gets how many beats?
1.
It gets 1 beat, remember?
Yeah.
So this gets 1 beat. This dot, I take half of this note value, which is what? Half, and I add it to it.
Okay.
Equals 1 and a half. And that's how the dot works.
Okay.
Does everybody understand that fundamentally? Thumbs up if you get that, because we can do that a little bit more later, and that's okay. We'll go over that later. And we have a whole thing to do. When it comes, you'll know that Earth is covered in a blanket of snow. And that's a whole poem about dotted quarter notes. So Skylar said 6-4. So let's go with 6-4. How many beats can I have in a measure?
6.
Can I have any less than 6? No. Can I have any more than 6? No. Okay. So give me a note value, Katie. A quarter note, and what do we call that in this class? A ta. Cool, we can do a ta, and give me a note name. A. So I know that A is right above this G, right? So I'm going to draw an A there. Awesome. How many beats left in this measure do we have? 5. Rachel, give me another note name. D. And what note value do you want that D to be?
2 beats.
2 beats. So what kind of note is that?
A half note.
A half note or a ta off, okay? So I'm going to count up, on what line or space would D be? Talk about that with your neighbor. Where would D be? Okay. And if you know the answer because you're used to it, good. I see you back there going EGBDF and FAC, Rachel. Don't you teach her the wrong way. Don't you teach her the wrong way. That might be the right way for you. Here's the deal, Raven. It is easy to do this really quick, right? Every good boy does fine in FACE. I get that. However, a lot of times what happens is those two things become separate, and they're not. You have a whole hand there. You don't have 4 fingers and 6 spaces. The whole thing consists, it's a whole shape. Okay, that's why I want you to learn it my way, because it's much easier to be able to say, this is G, oh, I can just count up. And I don't have to sit there and think like, I can just go boom, 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 one after the other, and forwards and backwards. And if that's the quickest way you can do it, Rachel, that's totally fine. So did you figure out where D is supposed to be? Caitlin, what'd you come up with? Where is D supposed to be? Second line from the top. So right here?
Yeah.
Cool. And you said a half note? Is that what you said, Rachel? Awesome. And remember, the line has to go through the middle of the note. How many beats left over do we have? Reveal, how many beats left over do we have? So this gets 1 beat, this gets 2 beats. 1 plus 2 is 3. How many beats left over? How many beats in a measure can we have? No, remember it's the top number. So we can have 6 beats in the measure. So 6 minus 3 is what? 3. So we have 3 beats left over. So give me a note value that could equal 3 beats or 2 beats or 1 beat. What? A ta? Okay. And give me a note name, Alex. F. Figure out where F is. With your neighbor. Figure out where F is. And remember, this is G, right? And there's 2 different options here. You can have a high F or a low F on this step. No, I don't care. Yeah. What do you say? Where is it?
Low.
Low F. Where is it?
The first space.
It's not the first space.
Or the second.
The second space, right? It's in between those first fingers, yeah. So, and you said a ta, right, Ravel? Okay. And remember, the stems don't matter. So how many beats left over in this measure do we have?
2.
Shelby. 2. Shelby, give me a note name. A half note. Okay. Give me a note name. Okay, a note name. A, B, C, D. Okay, remember, we name the notes according to their pitch, A, B, C, D, or E. The rhythm dictates how long we hold that pitch. Okay, so if I ask you for a note value, that means I want a number. A note name means I want a note letter. Okay? A, cool. This is good. And you want it to be a half note. Which A would you like? The low A. Oh, so this is an A, so you want the same A there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, can we have any more notes in this measure? No, unless we change the note values of some. So here's how we do this. Oh no, that's fine. Please read this in tas and ts. 1, 2, and ready, go. Ta, ta, ah, ta, ta. Make sense? 1, 2, and try it again. Ta, 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 ta. Good. Here's the deal. This number has changed other than 4, right? But this is still called a quarter note or a ta. So it still gets the same note value because the 4 is on the bottom. So the top number in time signatures can be anything that I want it to be. It could be 5,324,622. That's fine. It would be impractical, but it could happen, okay? So, this never changes if this bottom number is 4. The note values don't change unless this bottom number changes, okay? Good. Now here's how we get music, is we read this in rhythm with the note names, okay? So if I were to go over here and play the piano, which I don't know why it's all messed up. So, the first note is what? A, so it's A, D, F, A. Right? Is that what it is? How many beats does that first A get? So say it in tas and ts for me. 1, 2, and ready, go. And that's how we get music. Now sing it for me. 1, 2, and ready, go. Ta, 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 ta. And that's what music is. Or ta, yeah, that's right. Ta, 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 ta. Cool. let's put this away for the time being, and let's get out our recorders, please.
I'm gonna play some real music.
There you go. Reveal, will you go back on my desk? It's right in that drawer. There should be like a blue recorder bag, I think. And
909.
I'll just do- Not right now. I have a PDF of the books on Smartboard, so we can pull it up there. Yeah, perfect. You just toss it to me. Oh. No, wrong one. It's fine. This is, oh, I'll show you. This is a different type of recorder. There's several different types of recorders. Just like you have soprano, alto, tenor, bass voices, which we'll talk about in chapter 4. This is an alto recorder, and it sounds, Gabby, will you please play a C for me? Well, play a G. 1, 2, 3. Good. So she has 3 fingers down, right? So if I put 3 fingers down on the alto recorder, it's going to sound completely different. It's not going to be a G, it's going to be a C. It's longer. Okay? So it's longer. How much longer is this instrument? It's 1.5 times longer than this. So it's one of these plus another half of those to equal this length. So that's how they get, this is how they are like a 1/5 apart. Okay, and we'll talk about intervals and things later. So this is the wrong recorder. I'll just grab another one, it's no big deal. But I'm glad you brought this out here. So, I think this is the one I used the other day. It is, good, okay. All right, keep in mind that I'm doing this backwards. Make sure that your left hand is on top. And please show me B, which is your thumb and first finger. Good. Show me A, which is your thumb, first and second finger. Show me G, which is thumb 1, 2, 3. Repeat after me. Watch my hands. Watch my hands. And please sit up if you're like this, if that's what it's gonna sound like. And how do we stop the sound in the recorder? With your tongue. Ta, ta, ta. Okay, and that's like, that's legitimately what you have to do. Ta, ta, ta. And your tongue hits that thing right there. 1, 2, and repeat. Listen to me first, sorry. Somebody's playing a wrong note and I can hear it. There's a fancy little solo action. So we just did, what did we just do? What rhythm did we play? We're in 4/4. What rhythm did we play? Raven, what do you think? What rhythm did we play? You do, but you don't. Okay, good. Can you sing it back to me? Can you say it back to me?
We just did like 4 tones.
Did we do 4 tiles? Let me play it again.
3 tones.
We didn't do 3 tas.
Wait.
What was the rhythm of that
We had a
measure?
rest, so it was,
There was no rest in it.
I don't know.
What do you think?
There was or half note.
There was a half note. Where was that half note, Skylar?
There's no.
It was the 3rd note. So we held that note out for 2 beats, so it's a half note. So we just played this. Beep, beep, beep. Yes? Does that sound right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. And that's how we would write it down. So if we needed to read that, what we just played, we could read it like that. Let's read this. 1, 2, and play that, go. And we knew that that was a B, and that's thumb and first finger, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Show me A, please. Good. And it's going to sound like this. Listen again. the rhythm for that? Here's the beat. Let me play it again. 1, 2, repeat after me. What's the rhythm? Ta, ta. So I had how many half notes in a row? 2. 2 plus 2 is? 4. And that's our time signature. Okay, and if I had to draw that, I would draw it like this. Yeah? Good. Show me G, please. It is 1, 2, and 3, correct?
Correct.
Here's the next. Repeat after me. What's the rhythm for that? I heard somebody say ta at the end. Was that a half note at the end? Let's try it again. 1. Listen to me. Here's the beat. What happened at the end? What happened at the end, Raven? What did we have there at the end? What?
A rest?
Yeah, there was a rest. Good, okay. So how many measures do we have so far? 3. Well, we're going to fill this third one in. Yeah. So the last beat, here's our double bar line, which means that the music is finito. It's over, okay? So we have a rest on the end. What was the rhythm of the notes before that? Kelly, do you have any idea? I will play it for you. Is that okay if I play it for you? Okay, the first note is a ta, and it's a G, so we're going to put it on that second line, right? What's the next rhythm? Listen again. TT. And then the ta, right? So we have B, 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 A, A, G, 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 G. And that's how you read music, folks. That's all it is. Yes?
It doesn't matter where the rest goes. It goes on here on a certain line, correct, when you draw it?
It does if you get into half rests and whole rests, and then it's on the beat. And remember, a half rest is a top hat, boo-doo-doo, it's above the line, and a whole rest is a bucket, so it's on the bottom of the line. And we'll talk about that later. Let's go through and read this in tas and tees, and move your fingers in tas and tees. So, and then we're going to go through in chin position and read the note names in rhythm, and you're going to move your fingers again, and then we're actually going to play it for the third time. Here we go. 1, 2, tas and tees, and go. Ta, 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 switch your fingers. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, sh. And I saw most of you moving your fingers along with that. That's perfect. Let's try it with note names. 1, 2, and ready, go. B, 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 A, A, G, 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 sh. Let's try to play it. 1, 2, and ready, go. Good. And Haley, if you want to move that right hand down to support it right there, that way if you're holding it up here, what's going to happen is you're going to cover this part up here, and it's not going to, it's going to either squeak or it's going to sound really strange, okay? So, what's going on?
Said we're not very good at this.
Oh, it's okay.
Like, how do you make it not squeak as much?
A lot of the time, squeaking happens for one of two, like 3 reasons, okay? So the first reason is your fingers are not covering the hole correctly. So there's some kind of leak there, and it sounds like this, okay? The second thing is that you are either blowing too hard or too soft. So, or, all right? Which is what I get a lot of the time. Making the candle dance, barely. Right? The third thing that goes wrong a lot of the times is that the position in your mouth is incorrect. So if it's like this, or like this, it's not going to sound as good and could squeak. okay? I've been playing this since I was in 4th grade. So, you know. And I played the saxophone for, I think, 22 years now. So, yeah. I've played the saxophone longer than some of you have been alive. It's just kind of interesting. Okay, so let's try to read this one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, and a rep. Let's get up. Let's put both feet flat on the floor. I see a lot of this. Like casual recorder players, like you're gonna pick up like the Yaz recorder and do some like Anchorman stuff like on the piano over there. So let's try to sit up nice and tall. Make sure that your recorder is at a 45-degree angle, not 0 or 90 or 180. Okay. And then let's try to play this 1. And then I really like the way that Haley is holding this down here at the bottom, supporting it like that. And you can either take your thumb and get your little pincher going, and you can pinch the bottom if you need to support it. Later on, you're going to have to slide that thumb up the back of the recorder so you can play the rest of the notes down here. So if you want to go ahead and get used to just having your thumb supporting it right there, you can. So, and I see Mary Alyssa doing something awesome. She is supporting it with her thumb and her pinky like this, if you want to do that too, which is the most proper way to do it. So, belong on Downton Abbey, Mary Alyssa. Here we go, the most proper way to play the recorder. Maggie Smith would be proud. Here we go, 1, 2, and play this, go. Ta. And did we all stop the sound on this rest? No, let's try that again. Be conscious of the music. I know that these are recorders and you think of them as child's instruments. These were actually like legitimate like instruments. They're good, they can sound really nice, okay? Here we go, 1, 2, and ready, go. Yeah, that sounds a lot better. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to move this aside. Will you push stop for me, Morgan?